This podcast is brought to you by D&D Exhaust. You can check them out on the internet at dndexhaust.com, as well as Instagram at DND Exhaust, and phone in orders at 844-DND-PIPE. Also, don't forget to use Fast Life, one word, at checkout for 5% off your exhaust system. You can also check them out at Destination Daytona. I think this week is the last week, this week of March, which is Daytona Bike Week. Check them out. Tell them you heard about them on the podcast, and check out those awesome exhaust systems. What's up, everyone? I'm glad to be back with you again. I got some great guests that came through last night. Really excited to talk to both of them, two of my favorite people in the world of motorcycles. So really excited for you guys to hear this. I want to talk about a couple things and knock out a couple more of these sponsors. Those have been asking, man, the Fast Life Campout, yes, it's coming up April 27th. That'll be a Friday through April 28th, Sunday. You can go to scootingamericaresort.com if you want to see if there's any cabins or any RV spots. I don't know how you're planning on doing this if you are. But tent camping, like we're all going to be doing, you just show up and go to the office and set up and you're good to go. So you don't have to early reserve anything or whatever. So be ready for that, man. We're going to talk more about it. Going to have Mark on here before the actual event. We're going to work out all the details of things that we want to try to offer at this deal as far as the experience wise. So yeah, look forward to it. Like I said, again, April 27th through April 20, or wait, sorry, that's fucked up. I think it's April 26th. Man, damn, I done screwed up. I'll get it on the outro. I'll figure it out, get it on the outro. It's going down. I also want to thank you guys for continuing to support our Patreon, man. You can also follow our Instagram page, the Fast Life Podcast, one word, and check out as much. We're trying to put a lot more content on there and a little bit more information about our guests, a little bit more information about what's going on the podcast side of our business. And you can always check out the Fast Life Garage as well, and that's where we do all our paint work and other stuff that we do to make money and shit. So, yeah, good times there. Hopefully you guys have checked out my buddy Mark at Texas Performance MC. You can check him out on Instagram at that deal, that handle. You can also go to his website, texasperformancemc.com. And if you're in the Austin area, you can always stop through his shop in Cedar Park, Texas, and shoot the shit with him. Maybe, hopefully you'll buy something. But at least get to meet the guy and see what he's all about. He's a great guy. And he's going to be a giddy-up. We'll both be a giddy-up in a booth. I'm just going to be there, sitting down, drinking beer. I don't have anything to sell. I don't have anything to pitch. I'm just going to be there. So if you see the Texas Performance banner or the Fast Life Garage banner, come by, say hi, say what's up. Hang out with us. Bring some beer for me. Mark likes Bang. He'll drink energy drinks like beer. It's insane. So hopefully we'll see you guys there at Giddy Up this year. So yeah, good times. I also want to thank Paint Huffer Metal Flake on Instagram and painthuffer.com. You can always go check out all the cool shit he's got going on, all the great artists on his Instagram, all the great pieces of work that he reposts of all the artists that are Team Paint Huffer, I guess you'd say. And you can always go to his website and check out all the products he sells and maybe get some shit for your bike or your project or your paint job or whatever you want to do. Check him out. And I think I didn't talk about this on the Adam Sandoval, campground thing, but the campground is in Moyers, Oklahoma. So that's, southeast Oklahoma, just, great riding, great area. Gonna be a good time, man. So hope you guys make the effort to come out and check it all out. So this podcast here is with my good buddy Oliver from the CutRate, as well as we drug FXR Mike out of his house, and he rode that sweet chopper he built over to the house. And yeah, I'm pretty jealous. I want it. I want one, So yeah, here they are. Thank you guys for checking all this out, and hope you enjoy this.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
So let me get these things right. These I'm telling you, man, these mics are fucking going out. Like at least this one is. This kind of sounds shitty, but yeah. So Oliver,
yo,
CutRate, FXR mic. I think we needed. I was thinking about this today. I did think about this. You have the kind of name that any adjective could be your nickname. Any adjective, right? You can be Fat Mike, Skinny Mike, FXR Mike, Chopper Mike,
White Mike in high
White
school.
Mike. Jew Mike.
There you go. Depends what situation you're in.
I was just like, man, like you got that cool name that just kind of goes
Just
with any
quick.
nickname. Yeah, it's like easy.
I guess Jace's too. But
Fat Jace.
your name isn't common, so you don't have to throw anything in front of it.
True.
You don't meet a lot of Jaces. You got like, Mike or Bob or something. You need to
That's
have
why I've never had a
something
nickname.
else.
I've never had one stick. It's always like Fast Life Jace or some, that's pretty much what they used to call me like back in the day. But yeah, dude. So welcome to Texas.
Yo, I'm here. I'm back.
You said that this was the ass end of your 3-week trip.
Yep. I was in Austin. Fuck, man. I don't know.
No, you left. You took the frame. Did you drop the frame off to get done?
Yeah, I left Long Beach about 3 weeks ago. Stopped in Phoenix. Stopped in Austin. Hung out. Went to Daytona. I went pretty much all the way down South Florida. Back to Daytona. Swap Meet Central. Did all the pre-bike week, first weekend of bike week kind of shit. Drove up to Maryland. Dropped off 2 bikes, picked up another bike, then run around there a little bit, then back down to Birmingham, then back up to Chattanooga, then back out to here today, and then I got to go to Phoenix tomorrow.
What did you pick up in Chattanooga that was so important to? You were close enough that it would be stupid to just leave it.
It was just this little T-Sport thing. Nothing.
A little T-Sport.
A little extra something. I just found it last night online and.
Dude, that's the lick, right? You're just kind of in these different towns, and what are you offering up and like going on those kind of things?
Yeah, man.
The more local ones.
Yeah, just offer up and all those kind of Craigslist and shit. I didn't plan on buying anything. I just was there bored, going through my phone looking, and I'm like, oh shit, this little thing right here is cheap enough. Yeah, and it was a good. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. To be honest with you, I don't know if I'm gonna sell it or keep it and build it or just church it up a little bit. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it seems like I've been noticing, maybe because you've been talking about it a lot, but sorry, this fucking mic is just so shitty.
Okay, nobody wants to hear you anyway, Jason.
Yeah, all right. I'm trying to not. This is y'all's podcast. I'm just here. But ever since you started talking about the like newer bikes and chopping them and raking them or de-raking them either way, I'm seeing them everywhere now. Like, people are doing it on Softails now. You seen the last couple of Softails, like a little fat bob that was done up? It looked pretty sick.
Big Gabe just did one.
Is that
one
who
of the new
probably did it?
Softails.
Yeah.
He's the only one I've seen to do the chopping a new Softail yet.
Well, I feel
Somebody else
like
might have,
I'm seeing more of those, and I feel like I'm about to see more Dynas doing that shit. So
yeah.
I'm gonna go on record right now and just say I feel like Softails, like Evo Softails and early twin cam Softails, not the new M8s, but just I feel like that's gonna probably be the next one to go.
Yeah,
to get them so cheap, so why not?
They're the cheapest they've ever be right now.
Yeah.
And if you really, most of them look kind of shitty and are done up shitty and stuff, but there are some good looking ones I've seen out there, and I feel like, man, that's once people get burnt out on,
Well, a lot of people like Dirty Bird, they make the kits to take that triangular swing arm off and put like a traditional setup on there, and then I think it probably runs better or rides better that way. But yeah, you can get those things cheap as fuck. You can make that, dude. This fucking shit is so simple.
Yeah.
I don't even understand the point in that, honestly. Why not just get a bike with 2 shocks on it if that's what you want?
Well, I think the thing is, you can, like, I've seen those Softails. I know, like, twin cams, I've seen those things go for anywhere from like $3,000 to fucking $6,000.
Yeah, I've been looking at the Evo ones. I know they're going cheap. You find them all day for $3,000.
Yep.
I've been thinking about that, just picking up an Evo Softail just for a cheap build.
Yeah, I likewise. I feel like, with those things, obviously the look of the Softails to emulate a hardtail, but I feel like with a lot of people building kind of like performance choppers, like rigid bikes with, big brakes and motors and thunder headers and that kind of shit, that like, why not? Why not do a Softail?
Yeah.
Why not? I don't know why not.
Yeah, I'm not scared to do it. I kind of want to do it. In fact, I kind of even almost like playing the underdog role and like let me take this ugly. Let me see like this part that nobody likes and try to.
It does seem like you've like strategically over the last couple of years gone the opposite direction of what people are doing with that particular bike. You know what I mean?
I mean, in a way, yeah. I think it's somewhat conscious. Like, I don't know. I just, I just have a lot of people. I hear stuff and like people like, oh man, who would ever use that? Who would ever use a Paco frame, or who would use why? I'm like, I would. I like it. Why not? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's more of a challenge. Like, you already know what the end result's going to look like on this combination of parts. Why not try to, I don't know, make it a little more challenging? And
I agree. That's what I say. Like, I think it's more fun that way now. Oliver does a lot better than me, but I'm the same way. Like, it's like, it doesn't seem like a lot of fun to just do the same build that everybody else is doing. It's just like you said, like, you already know what it's gonna look like, the whole thing. It's more fun, I think, to just try and go out of the box and do something weird.
Absolutely.
And I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, but it's more exciting and more challenging. Like, you actually got to think about things. Like,
exactly.
You're building the same bike that everyone's building with, like, an old panhead frame, whatever, all stock dimensions. You're still a Wassel tank on it, and it's like, I mean, it's cool, but doesn't seem like too much fun for me.
It's not challenge. It's not. It's not challenge. I mean, it's not that it's not challenging. You can make that bike challenging, but I mean, it's a given that if you have a wishbone frame and a Wassel tank and a Wassel fender and a 2-over or 4-over Springer and an 18 and a 21, like, paint it any color you want.
It's a winning combination.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's a good combination. It's classic, but I'm saying it's just. I don't know. For me, like, design wise, like, you paint that any color, you could, it's gonna look good no matter
it's
what.
Kind of like a customer's bike. It's the thing you do for somebody that wants them to build. They want you to build them a bike, and it's kind of like they're safe. They're gonna love this. This is what they want. But as a builder, you kind of have to push the envelope and find a new way of reinventing yourself every time. I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just try to look like at projects through, like, I'm gonna do this FXR, but I'm gonna look at it through the chopper glasses. Or I'm gonna do this chopper and I'm gonna put on the FXR glasses and look at it, and just kind of like different perspectives on a certain.
Dude, last year at Giddy Up, when I saw finally, that was the first time I saw, like, other than your FXR, you built that bike in person, and I was nerding out on it all weekend because it really had that fucking vibe of like a performance, quote unquote chopper. Not saying it's a performing chopper like you're gonna go, but just the look is performance.
Yeah. No, I definitely. I mean, and that other FXR and that bike were built like as a set, as a pair. You know what I mean? And like, so that one was a little more low tech than the FXR version of it, but they both have, like, similar styling, similar parts. Like, one has the original wheels, the FXR has the billet replica wheels. So
the FXR, because that's what I'm looking at now, that's that one, right? It had the I guess the Soriyama style Doberman on it.
Yeah, so the original, that original Doberman tank, I've had that for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
But ironically came off of an FXR. Originally, that tank, it was an FXR tank painted with the Dobermans that we chopped up and made and made narrow, and then ended up, it's kind of full circle. Like, it kind of didn't go back on an FXR, but it's all kind of come full circle.
So is that where the Doberman came from? Yeah, I was wondering.
It was an 82. No, it was actually painted by a dude in 82. He had a black and gold FXR. And there's local, like, kind of famous painter painted it, and I guess I don't know how long it was. I never knew the guy with the actual bike. That tank ended up at some shop, at another shop. My friend got it. He gave it to me, and I didn't even, at the time, I didn't have an FXR. I probably didn't even know what one was, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a big ass tank, and I was riding chopper, so I'm like, I'm not gonna use this giant fucking tank. But the profile is cool and the art's cool, so, like, let's just cut everything out the middle. And
that's kind of, like, cool about that whole concept of, like, the way, when you find some old shit like that you can repurpose or whatever. It's like, because as a painter, every time I, like, look and customizing a bike, I'm always racking my brain on colors and style and scheme. And when you're just got a cool tank and I'm gonna build this bike to make this tank look good, it's kind of like it solves all those problems or some of the stressful things of, like, being that design creative.
Well, when I got that tank, and when it was a Doberman, and, like, the first chopper I built around that tank.
Yeah.
Like it is like I want to personify this Doberman into a bike. Like
It does kind of have that long
Yeah.
neck kind of vibe to it.
and the first one,
aggressive.
maybe even a little more. Like
Yeah.
I really tried to like, you know, squint and like, oh, it has kind of that line. But after that bike sold, I kept the tank and then built this other bike around the tank again, but in a different version, like a swing arm version with similar stuff. But you know,
So this new bike you're building is for Born Free, right? Like you're another year.
yeah. I
Alumni.
kind of went a little stupid this year.
So what'd you start with? Like, cause
This is like an ongoing project from I don't know how long ago. You're talking about the Invited Builder bike. Okay, so
and that's the one that you just dropped the frame off, right?
yeah. Okay, so like fuck man, 5 years ago, I was at a swap meet and I saw this the neck of a bike. It was cast aluminum. And I went, man, that thing is crazy. Like it was broken in half and welded and like it was cut. But I was like, man, this thing's really cool. And immediately when I saw it, I was like, that'd be really cool to like try to make into, you know, whatever. Then I'm thinking like, I didn't buy it. Because it was really broke up and stuff. And I was like, I went home and I immediately like regret not buying it. Like as soon as I went home, it was like on my mind nonstop. So I had like a VL engine cradle, which is like a single loop, a single down tube frame. And then I was just like, that frame piece. And I just kept thinking about it. And I was looking and I did the research and found out what it was, but I couldn't find any. So that project kind of sat, like, I don't know, just kind of, for a few years, just kind of was out of my mind. And every once in a while, I'd look for that frame piece and couldn't find it and whatever. So then I had an engine, I had flathead cases, and I was going to do this, like, I don't know, I just had an idea for something. And then last year, I went to a swap meet in Northern California, and we actually left, like, kind of early. And then a guy I know up there called me and said, hey, I had told him about this project.
Yeah.
And he called me and said, hey, man, I know you just left, but there's a guy came in with that bike, with that thing you're looking for. And I was like, oh, shit, well, just buy it, and I'll get it off you. So talked to the guy. He ended up selling me just the part I needed off the frame, which is just the backbone and the neck piece. And the guy brought it down to me, and I got it at Born Free. And, like, as soon as I had it in my hand, I was like, that's it. I had never even had it in my hand really, or to like measure anything I just visually was like, I think this thing might work. Yeah. And then I took it home that night and I just kind of laid it on the floor, like with the engine cradle and the thing, and kind of like, oh shit, this thing is going to be bad. And it, like, I mean, I obviously did a ton of work to make it work, but it was, yeah, as soon as I had it in my hand, I was like, that's it. This is going to be, I like this.
How'd you connect it all? The aluminum and steel.
It's complicated. So when they made that originally, the neck being cast aluminum, they cast in a steel backbone into the casting when they pour the mold, and it's got little pins or something in there so it doesn't pull out. Problem is it's really thin wall tubing, and then it's just cut off. At the bottom of the aluminum casting, there's two holes where they would have like an engine plate that would hold like an engine cradle. Mm-hmm. So I slugged the backbone with chromoly and rosetted all the way around, and had to kind of like turn down some shit to be able to get, basically, I forget what the size is, metric sizes, I don't even remember, but I had to turn down material to slug inside, to have the right OD, to fit the right ID, to have another piece go over to where the seat casting would go into that. Like, so it's a little complicated with all that. And then the bottom piece where the holes were, I thought, okay, I'll just bolt in. I'll like use the engine cradle and then make this kind of like yoke piece that'll bolt into it. And then as I got like messing with it a little more, I ended up like kind of machining it in, making these stainless plates that are now like the frame with when you look at it, you'll be able to tell what I'm talking about. But it's very complicated to explain it. It tapers sideways and front to back, and it's square. So as I machined the plates in, they're set in, and then I had 2 bolts holding it all together, and I was like, well, fuck that. Let's put 3/8 stainless slugs through it, and then clamp it and weld it and face everything off, so it's totally seamless.
That's what I was wondering. I was looking at pictures. I was like, it's all seamless. I'm like, what?
Exactly. That was the whole on here. That's the whole thing. I wanted to, because I made the stainless plates and cut them out. So when you look at it, I mean, you see a parting line, but it follows the exact same shape as the original.
Yeah.
And then from the engine cradle, there's a piece of like DOM that comes up, and it's basically sandwiched by the 2 plates. That's welded. And then another piece of thicker DOM clamshell over that, and it's welded. So basically, like, you can't really see, you can't see where it's welded. All the welds are hidden. It's like, that's kind of the whole point, was to like use these dissimilar metals, like aluminum, stainless, mild steel, mix it all up and have it like be like some kind of like, I don't even really. I just don't. Well, the whole thing is, it's a VL cradle with a Greaves front and a knucklehead back.
What did the neck and down tubes originally come on? Like, what was that?
It's a company called Greaves. It's a British, like mid '60s British dirt bike company, 2-stroke dirt bikes. They have a little bit of a cult following, but they're pretty obscure. Yeah. You don't really see them very much here. But
it's kind of cool. I've seen. Didn't Joey Cano kind of do some shit like that, where he would take some old Triumph parts? I guess it's common in the chopper world to like use some British bikes and stuff and Italian bikes into the chopper culture. So
I've done like a panhead chopper before where I used like all British parts on it. Like, there's these little like themes within the bikes, and same thing on this bike. I'm using this British neck. I'm using like a British like Wassel style tank, Avon tires, a Wassel style fender, like different shit, but and using like specific British little parts, like a Lucas headlight and a things on purpose.
Like, when you look at the stances of your bikes, do you like build it based on that because you want to see how that feels, or do you have something that you like you like your style more? Like, it feels like a lot of your stuff has that D-rake look. I don't know if they're all D-raked or not, but do you just prefer that riding stance style?
I generally don't like raked bikes.
Yeah.
Like, if anything, stock or D-raked. Just preference, I guess. Yeah. This one, like, I was kind of like confined to the neck, being that it's cast, and I can't really like, yes, I could cut and de-rake or whatever, but the fact that it's cast, I don't want to like really disturb that. So I was trying to get like the backbone to be like perfectly straight how it sits. Like, I didn't want it to have like a weird kink, like a lot of frames that come down and they kink behind the seat. I wanted it like really straight. I don't want it to be super long. I don't want a bunch of out in it. So I had to really play a lot with like how that's going to sit, because this angle at the front is fixed.
Finite, yeah.
You know what I mean? And then so the angle at which the engine cradle, like keeping that same curvature so the engine cradle curves up and right like into the down tube. I had to really like play with like the height of the engine cradle, how far forward, how far up, how far back, like all 4 pieces ended up being. And it took quite a while to like just sit there and look at it forever.
What was that FXR shit you were building, the dash and everything not too long ago? Was that part of this bike too, or is that something different?
It's a totally separate bike, but also for Born Free.
Oh, so you have 2 different builds going off of this?
3.
You like the savior for Born Free?
No, I just like, I knew that I was gonna do 2. I knew I was gonna do the invited builder bike. I took a year off from the FXR show last year and had some stuff saved up I really wanted to use. So I said, all right, well, shit, I've told this story before, but I prefer to do more than one at a time, because if I do one, like right now, I don't have a frame. It's out getting engraved or whatever. So I'm kind of sitting, like I'll twiddle my thumbs. If I don't have something to do, my mind will go off into, buying records or doing some other shit.
Yeah.
This way I'm under the gun completely. So if one's out, I'm working on this one. If this one's, I'm waiting on a part, I'm working on this one.
That's kind of like Mike's model. He's usually got 4 projects he's juggling at
I'm
once.
trying to stop with that, man.
I mean, yeah,
At least 2. I like 2. More than 2 gets to be too much of a handful.
I agree with you. I have bit off a lot for this time, but
So what's the third bike?
the third bike is this Dyna, which like I had started I started it previously, but and it wasn't going to be any kind of like show bike or nothing like that. It was literally just it was a full build, a crank up build, but it was just like a rider for me, like for this later this summer, another cross country bike. And as I got into doing it, I'm like, well, it just starts to kind of like snowball a little bit. Yeah. The thing with that bike is I don't know if I'm most excited about this one, but I'm equally as excited about this one. So it's a 03 T-Sport. I bought a frame, a motor, and a trans. So I'm like, okay, I want to, and like before I did that Sturgis on a 01. So I'm like, I want to do another sort of like conceptual kind of build like that. So 03, anniversary, it's a T-Sport, whatever. I have police bags, police floorboards I'm running. The tank is a T-Sport tank painted in the Maryland State Police logos and colors. So then sport fender painted, all the paint to match. I did like a quick release radio box. The seat and the backrest is all basket weave, like cop shit. Yeah. So did all the whole motor shit. And I'm like, I don't really need to go like too hot rod because it's really for like a kind of a long distance bike. So crank was done, stroke stock. I had, 10.5 to 1 Screaming Eagle pop-up pistons. As I'm doing the heads, as I was going to do the heads, I'm like, well, I could spend like $1,000 and get some nice heads. And I was at the swap meet and I saw these heads sitting there. I'm like, oh man, these are Screaming Eagle heads. They look kind of nice. They're CNC ported. They're big valve compression releases. But I've never seen these ones before. Like the logos are different and shit. Yeah. So I get them home and I'm looking and I'm like, yeah, the bolt circles all the same. They slide right on my cases. But I'm looking, I'm like, the combustion chamber is a different shape for one. So I was like, And then I'm looking, I'm like, oh damn, these are water cooled heads. These are 14 to 17 Rushmore heads. So I'm like, all right, well, maybe I can't use these. And then I was like, well, fuck, why can't I use these? So we really got to thinking, and I took them over to Branch, and we kind of brainstormed a bunch. And like, well, why don't we just reshape this combustion chamber to fit the piston I have? But basically, it's a 95 piston, a 3875 bore, and a 103 is the same bore with just a bigger stroke. Yeah. So, okay, the combustion chamber size is good, the bolt pattern, all that's the same. So let's just reshape this combustion chamber to fit the piston we have, and re-CC'd everything, decked it where we needed to deck it, do all the shit. It ended up coming out perfect, like 10-2 to 1, corrected compression ratio, and running like 598 Mackie cams in it. And
so what'd you do with the water setup? Just left it?
No. So I got a bagger crash bar and lower fairings with the radiators and the whole thing. Made it all fit onto a Dyna, which is basically just put it on. Yeah. That's getting all painted to match. And then I'm running like a Bosch water pump, electric water pump, which all Harley shit is basically, it's a Bosch pump. That's all it is. So I'm running a Volkswagen Bosch pump that's on a switch. So it's going to be basically 03 Police T-Sport water cooled. Yeah, 95-inch hot rod motor. I mean, dude, the motor should scream too.
It's crazy just thinking, like, if you like looking at like your portfolio of bikes, it's like, what the fuck did this come into play?
I don't know, man.
He's in the water cool shit now.
Well, I mean,
it's cool though. It is.
I found the heads because I was like, oh, well, this is a good price, and I can just put these right on and use them. And then by the time I got home, I was like, oh fuck, these won't work. And then, well, why can't they work? We make them work. Fuck it,
Twin cams should work.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, you can weld up combustion chamber. People do it all the time. Weld up. You need a smaller chamber. Weld it up. You need to take more meat out, mill it out. So we did that. I mean, obviously Branch is like set up to do all that shit.
Yeah.
And they were super like helpful in helping me figure out the math of what it needed to be and all that. But it seemed, I haven't obviously finished the bike yet, but seemingly it should work.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
And I think it's kind of actually a perfect setup to run cross country in the summertime.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
especially yeah. Fuck, dude, definitely in the summertime. It gets so fucking hot out there as soon as you leave LA.
Yeah.
That's gonna confuse some people.
Well, that I think honestly, I don't think anyone's even gonna realize it because, I mean, you've seen dynas with bagger crash bars on them before.
Yeah, I've seen dynas with bagger crash bars and bagger lowers.
So this has. I mean, it's the same bagger lowers, and you almost can't tell the radiators in there because they have the vents and stuff.
Yeah.
So
they look like.
Yeah,
just the normal look of the lowers that come on the baggers, but they have like, instead of usually in the top, it's pockets to put like shit in there. But there's like a radiator with a little fan behind it. I don't know does yours have the fan on it?
So yeah, the fans are like you can't see any of it.
Yeah.
And normally where the glove boxes are, like the reservoirs up there and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So
and
they're a little bit lower, so it allows air to pass through it. And like the old one, or for sure the 13 and up, or the Rushmore ones and up, they have the little doors in it so you can let air through it or shut it. And they're pretty fucking nice, trust me. Like, I was wanting them pretty bad the other day going through 32 degrees. So. Yeah.
And like I said, I mean, I found all that stuff, sourced everything from eBay and online and from, obviously like the way the hoses come out of the heads and all that. I had to kind of like simplify and modify some of that shit. But it's all the hoses are ran under the tank. I don't even think you're really going to see anything.
That's wild.
And I mean, the whole bike's like, everything's powder coated and like done up and shit anyway. I have a feeling people are just gonna be like, no, this nerd.
Does it still have the T-Sport fairing on it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And that's all color match. I just have a feeling people are just, walk by it and be like, oh, this guy put bagger lowers on a Dyna. How lame. like it's so basic, but it's like purpose, you know what I mean? And I feel like the bagger lowers like kind of lend itself to like a police look, and you know what I mean.
A little bulky.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cool, man. Like dude, doing different shit's cool as fuck, man. Some of us just don't have the balls to try it. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the case. Like Mike, you're trying all kinds of shit, and you've been doing it successfully. We'll see if Mike is successful.
I'm not successful. No, it's successful.
No, this shit's cool. I still like your FXR chopper. I mean, one day it'll get done, but.
Yeah, that's the whole working on too many projects thing.
Well, the shovel head's dope. I mean, like, we were just running up and down the street on it. I mean, you did die a couple times at the street lights.
Well, I still tuning in. It's only got a couple hundred miles on it, so.
No, but
get ready for
I want one so bad, man. The responsibility shit, I just can't do it. I don't even look like I know how I get, like, you'll be, or, if I tell him, hey,
you're in too much of a rush. That's why. You don't. I build on a budget, man.
Yeah.
I got sheds full of parts, that way it don't cost me too much to put a bike together.
That is the case, man. I do get impatient, and for some reason I put something in my head that's like, if it's not done by this show, I might as well just die. You know what I mean? It needs to be over, and
it's not that important.
Yeah,
but
I put that kind of importance on my head to make myself do it.
The show is for me too. I mean, I didn't have the show as a deadline. It'd be, oh, well, what if we then change this? And what if we change that? And what if, okay, well, like it'll never end. Like you just keep on changing shit, and so I have to have the show as like a serious deadline.
That's like I said with that one, like there's so much I still need to change on it. And I just work on it it's running, riding fine now, but I work on it every day till giddy up, just making all new everything except for the painted parts, because I can't really have you paint them again in time.
Well, I mean, it looks dope, man. Even sitting on it, I was like, man, I could travel on this thing.
Just a lot of little things. I don't know. You put it together yourself. You just, I don't know. Every time I make a part, as soon as I get done, I'm just like, I could make that better now. Like, now I've made it once.
Yeah.
Second time be better. Since half the time I do the second time, and then it's still, now third time's gonna be better. And eventually I just try and find a time where I'm like, okay, that's enough. How many sets of mid controls can you make before,
That's why a lot, I mean, in truth be told, that's why a lot of the bikes I do, like, I on purpose try to make the next bike be sort of similar to the last bike in a
like
way.
that idea.
But I also like, well, the last bike I made like a tank that I didn't use. So this bike, like, I'll use that tank and it'll be a similar, like it's versions of stuff because I'll make 2 or 3 of something in the process and be like, well, let me revisit this part I started to make and never finished, and I'll use it on the next bike. But that relates back to, because it was supposed to be a part for the last bike.
Yeah.
So a lot of that carries through like that.
Someone told me a long time ago when I started painting, they were like, because when I first got into paint, I wanted to do everything I knew how to do on every paint job. Mm-hmm. And they said, you need to save some of that shit. You got a lot of paint jobs you got to do in your life. And I would guess in some aspects that can also translate to building bikes, that you kind of have to pick something and go down that path and then save another idea for this path. And there's
absolutely
a good point.
Absolutely. I mean, there, every little part, every little part I look at turns into a whole nother bike.
Well, it's like looking at what Al Emerson shit when he's making something. It's like, I feel like he's doing, not in a bad way, but he's doing everything he can to every bike. And it's just like everything. He looks at so much detail of everything he's doing, like the hidden bolts. I know it's not, he didn't invent it, but it's clean. It's everything is so clean when he puts stuff together, or for what I see online. Yeah. Same thing with what's the name from Main Drive Cycles, Corey. Yeah. Did you meet Corey? He had that last year at Giddy Up. He had that Sportster with the girder front.
Okay, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
he actually took a Softail like one we were talking about at the beginning of this and did it super nice. Kind of raked it, brought it back. I don't know if he de-raked it, but just beautiful bike. You know what I mean? It wasn't like. I mean, it still had the triangular swing arm. It still, I think he made a tank for it. Or maybe
it just set up real simple, just real clean.
Real clean, but man, I'd totally ride that bike anytime. Slingshot it. No, I would totally ride that bike around. But I've never looked at Softails like in any kind of way of like, like some of the dealers here, they'll text me, hey, we got this Softail in, like, because sometimes I know people that want bikes. I'm like, it's like nobody wants that shit.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. Next year, I think I want to step into the new bike realm, like a 2020.
For real?
I think so.
To ride or to do something to?
To do something to and ride.
Yeah.
I love the motors, man.
I came close to picking up a Softail just to cut it up. I was glad Big Gabe did it, because part of me was like, I could just go get one right now and then just be the first person to do it just for fun, just to be able to say, hey, did that first, but then he did it. And I was like, it completely left. I was trying to talk Mark into it. I was like, dude, just let me get your frame. I was like, it won't take long. We'll just cut it up and you put it back together.
So what are you thinking about? Like, what's running through your head on those?
I mean, I almost don't want to spill the beans because it's so far out. But yeah. I mean, I just want to do something like I don't want to throw like 100 aftermarket parts on it and just be like, this is everything that's available for this bike.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're all doing.
I mean, I get that like, I totally get that.
Yeah.
Like it's, I just want to build a bike like almost like another factory, like a wishful thinking. Yeah. Like I wish the factory built this bike. So build it like
the Sturgis ones you did.
Exactly.
One you did.
Basically, yeah. Something
That's
like
cool.
that.
Yeah.
Like a version of this bike that I wish they would come out with. That's not like, a sport bike front end and all this kind of shit. Like I want to use as much factory shit as I can and just change a little bit of stance, a little bit of styling, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
I feel like what FXR division did last year with that little Softail build, like I feel like, that was the right path.
That's to the max.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing was...
They were working on that fairing. I felt like just some more time, they would have had it dialed in to really, like we were talking about, you were just talking about just like fitting the space and the stance and the flow. Like I felt like they were on the path with that bike and taking it in the direction that is pretty appealing to our market. But yeah, like everybody... I don't know, man. Like everybody's just looking. Everybody wants to customize their shit, but like not. I mean, you guys both are into making the shit from nothing, and to some of us that's like trying to learn how to code computers and shit. You know what I mean?
Everyone's got their shit they do. I can't paint for shit, so I mean,
I'm not a painter either.
I mean, everyone does something. Mark can build a motor 10 times better than me, probably Oliver too.
Yeah.
So I mean, everybody's just got. There's only a handful of people that I know that can do it all.
Yeah, for sure.
they're always lacking in a little bit. You know, there's very few people that are even across the board.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, hell, even as a painter, it's hard to be even at every little aspect of it. So I'd imagine like in the manufacturing or the machining side of things, it's the same concept. You know, you might be like Garley and be like really good on lathes or lathing, getting lathed, but you know, maybe you're not that good at using a mill. You know what I mean? So there's all different ways of, I guess, working shit out.
Yeah. So. I just feel like on these new bikes, like, I don't know, man. I you know, part of me, I like to like start from scratch and like, you know, a frame and a set of cases or something, you know. But I think I just want to do something, being that it's a new bike. I don't know. I just want to like just tweak it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like just change things and do some color variations and some styling cues and like.
That is one thing I noticed about your bikes is that you can't really see all the shit on the Instagram post.
What?
Like that bike you had at Giddy Up last year, I'm like, didn't you have some wood on there and shit too? Mm-hmm. I was like, what the fuck is it? Like I never would have saw that on an Instagram post, you know what I mean? And those kind of things like really gave it a lot of flavor. Like personality, I guess is a word, you know what I mean? Like you're not gonna get some shit like that from the factory, but it's pretty dope, you know?
Thank you. I don't know, man. If I do a new bike, like I said, I thought about like, okay, well, if I took a bike, which one would it be? You know what I mean? Like Street Glide S. That's like I feel like that's, you know, like the baddest bike.
Road Glide
S.
Yeah.
Okay. Road Glide S.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like at the same time, like, what do you do to that?
Yeah.
But what do you do to that besides like make the motor, you know, bigger or paint it a different color? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of already there. Like, you know, for what it is. I don't know. So I don't think there's a whole lot of room unless you're gonna like make a chopper or something out of it. Which what's the point? You know what I mean? I just want to like play with more like stylistic things with them, and just like I said, like do a Sturgis or a version or a Daytona version or something that's like kind of conceptual a little bit.
You know what I've been wanting to see with the baggers at least is you're right. They're very good platforms to do things, but you know, a big craze, you know, in the big wheel side was making the bag super long and doing all this crazy shit. But I feel like there's an untapped design that could go into that area to make it cool or make it different. Mm-hmm. I just don't know what it is like off top. You know, a lot of people now are like cutting out knee pockets in the tanks, which that's different. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like getting to the same point where it's like, okay, it's the norm.
And once more a couple people do something like that, then it's just whatever.
Well, what's the guy's name that has Power Plant?
I don't know his name.
Oh, Yaniv.
Yeah, so he did a couple of those little cutouts on like FXR tanks and shit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Fucking the dopest looking ones. Like not some bullshit like straight down like shaped where it had a roundness to it and a like that. I was like, fuck, that's so dope. I think I probably sent you or Carlos was like, hey, can you do this to my tank?
Yeah, I mean, you're in a way you're kind of limited. You know what I mean? On what you can do to those bikes. Like, well, it's got a fuel pump in it. It's got this. We can kind of only do some like dishes in the side, or you know, we can do bars and we can do pipes and wheels and bolt-on stuff. You know, I mean, the aftermarket obviously will catch up and they'll have stretch bags and they'll have different stuff, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Well, even right now, you see a lot of people, which is crazy because we were going to talk about this with John, but with Harley dropping that new, was it the Ultra or Electric Glide or whatever? It's like an 18.9 for a street glide, and it's just bare bones. So, you know, just the motor, no radio. It's a perfect bike to buy. Rip the fairing off, put anything else on. You put now everybody, they got T-Sport fairings. Fucking RT fairings and all these different fairings now to go. Definitely put an RT fairing on just to piss off the FXR crowd.
It just looks bad, man. It's not
I think it looks awesome.
Dude, you got that big ass gap between the fairing and the tank. When they put on a Dyna too, and Dyna or Bagger, there's just that big gap that just kills me. You can see straight through. Like there's the fairing, there's the tank, and there's like looks like a foot of just empty space between them. And it just looks like ass to me.
I guess I never really looked at that like that.
That's the thing. I'm like, it's not even a purist. I mean, of course, there's a little bit of that. But that's not even. I mean, if it looked good, it looked good. I've seen a couple of Dynas that pulled it off. I don't know if they mounted it different. And there's a few different. There's all different ways to mount it, different companies. But most of them, there's just a big old gap, and that's what kills it.
See, I think that Sport Glide is the one that I see most people customizing, but from the one that we did our customizing on, like, there's so many things about that bike, they're pointless. Like, I literally think the best thing to do is buy a lowrider and then buy the bags, because the Sport Glide itself, it's like it's got this front end with single disc, which I'm okay with, but it's that's not desirable, I guess, if or whatever. But it comes with the forward controls, and the tank is kind of like junky. It doesn't have the cool dash on it. The Fat Bob's got the coolest parts on it, and then the Lowrider has the most traditional parts on it that would be close to what a Dyna or older FXR was. But the Sport Glide is just like this bobbed fender. It's got bags, and it's like, it feels like it's raked out far.
See, I would go with the Sport Glide.
Yeah.
I was about to just say, like, me and Nick were just talking about, like, I was like, man, I want to do one with a little bob fender, just because everyone says how ugly they are, and I'm like, I feel like, I don't know, when somebody says how ugly something is, it's like, it just sounds like fun to try and make one.
Yeah.
Like I said, just to make one, and then to just try and make it cool. And
well, I said,
almost
man,
more fun.
Nobody ever liked the Fat Bobs, and then the new Fat Bob comes out, and it is the best looking bike of all of them, in my opinion. Like, the tank has some cool shape to it. The fender looks dope on the rear. It's just fucking the super wide front end and the kind of knobby looking small tires on it is not really that cool.
Yeah, I can't get down with that one.
I don't know what each one looks like. So
the Sport Glide is the one that I actually went to the dealer and looked at the Sport Glide, like, kind of took some pictures and like, okay, yeah, that's the one I think for me has the most potential for what I want to do. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I think you could take that bike and use parts off other bikes, put them on there, change this.
That's interesting too, man, because like I said, when we did what we did to the one we did.
Who's we?
But yeah, like we didn't have the budget to or obviously the skill to go in and like look at this bike, and plus it was a friend of mine, so he was wanting it to be more like what he sees online. But if it was something of mine, that I'd probably be looking at it with a way different set of glasses, like you were talking about, to where, how can we make this completely different? One thing I love what Jay said from Fab 28 a long time ago is that he said when they were building those Softails they were doing, he's like, we're not trying to make this look like a Dyna. We're just trying to make it look like whatever this is supposed to look like. This own scene. But I think that a lot of us have kind of just resorted back to what was comfortable in the previous scenes or whatever.
Yeah, I don't want to make a T-Sport version of a Sport Glide.
That's exactly what I did.
It's the easy way out.
Well, no, I'm saying that. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. I get that. I just, for me, I don't want to do that. I want to go the opposite route.
So would you want to keep that little bikini fairing and everything?
The mini Batwing?
Yeah.
Yep. Keep that.
I think somebody's gonna make it cool, and I've been telling everyone's like, just throw it away. I'm like, they're gonna be cool one day. I'm like, none of the other ones that everyone loves were cool forever, And now all of a sudden they are. It just like everything in the motorcycle world, all it takes is somebody showing you that it can be cool, and then everybody wants it.
That's exactly what I think is gonna happen. So I'm pretty sure you're gonna get a hold of one of these bikes, do something badass, and it's almost like I feel like the Sport Glides itself hasn't been a popular enough sell from Harley yet. For them to, like, I don't think it's given it that Harley's going to give it the time for the aftermarket to make it cool where people want to buy these bikes. So they'll probably discontinue it 2 years from now.
Like a T-Sport.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like
the hope or whatever.
Well, that's just when I look at it, I kind of see it as the same thing. Like Mike was saying, like when that came out, when the FXR fairing came out, like, maybe it wasn't popular. And they got rid of it. T-Sport came out and wasn't that popular. Let's get rid of it. Like mini Batwing, get rid of it. But I think, like, give it a little time. Maybe I think that might be the one.
So it's just got to grow on you. I mean, like, how many people have you heard say, like, when they first saw an FXR fairing, they thought it was ugly? I'm not even talking about, like, people like our age, just like, 5 years ago when they first started getting into FXRs, the fairings are ugly. Now they love them. Sometimes that shit just got to grow on you a little. You see some done up right.
I've said this before. It's like, I decided that fairing was sick as fuck because I saw an Instagram picture some dude with some Vans on. Like literally, this picture's in my head, distilled in my head because I was like, oh, those shoes look cool on that guy. Oh, that fairing looks cool. Oh, that whole guy is badass on that bike. And I'm like, now I'm into this.
You don't even know who it is.
No idea, but it was.
You probably already interviewed him.
Yeah, probably. But it was just one of those things. Like I'm a visual guy, so when I see something like I hated long front ends, right? Like chopped out long front ends. But that one, the Chemical Candy, that last bike that he did, that shovel head, when we were hanging out at Tim O'Keefe's place, and he rode up on that thing, I was like, I don't know if I was man crushing him or the fucking bike, but he looked fucking cool as shit rolling up. And forever now, I see that front end, I'm like, it's dope to me now. So it's almost like
for long bikes.
Yeah, for sure, you don't have the room for it. But for me, it's like that. It's like I can see something cool, but until I see it in use in some way or another, that I'm not sold on certain things. So I don't know. It's weird.
Makes sense.
No man would ever admit any of that, but I'm just the one. I will say that.
It's fine. We're not going to judge you in here. It's a judgment-free zone.
But no, that's what I don't know. I think that's exactly what's going to happen with these bikes. Is that, and it's also cool that like some of you guys that are into like the more vintage or just other things are kind of looking at these new bikes as, instead of like what we've been talking about is trying to understand the sellability of the market. You're kind of looking at it like, oh well, let's see what we can do with this canvas. You know what I mean?
Like we were talking about right before the podcast, we don't want to sell anything.
Yeah.
That's why, like some people say, "Oh, my bike's like, that's cool," because it's not for sale, and it's probably not gonna be. So that's the best thing about not doing this to make money is I can go out and do something really weird, and it doesn't really matter if anyone likes it or not, because it's not like I'm looking at it like from a how much money do I got in this to, because I've done some that, were to sell, and then every part you put on it, you're just, okay, this part costs $300 or it takes a week to make. Is it going to add that much value to the bike? And that shit's just not fun for me. I'd rather just do
and wouldn't
whatever.
It just kind of like stunt what it could have been? If you just would have built it with a more clearer mind of like, I'm not trying to limit myself financially or time-wise or whatever.
Yeah, I think you get the best bike doing it that way. Mm-hmm. I don't ever build something that I think like this will sell better or someone else will like this more. Mm-hmm. Like I just try to build exactly what I like the most.
Yeah.
And then hopefully someone likes it. And if they don't, then I have another bike, which I'm not mad at either. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah, there's no losing that way.
No. So how was Born Free last year? We were kind of talking about it before with like Show Class kind of, shutting the doors, I guess. That was one of my favorite fucking magazines. I used to tell him all the time is like, it was like one of the last OG magazines. Not that it's an old magazine, but it just had that vibe of like giving us what we really want to read and hear and see and the kind of ads I want to see. I want to see ads from guys like you and Danger Dan and Sweatshop and shit like that, not like Harbor Freight and fucking other shit like that, So
it's unfortunate. Hopefully someone will come in and I know Biltwell's picking up the People's Champ thing, but hopefully someone, that I guess maybe that just opens the door for something else.
Yeah, hopefully.
Or, someone else to say, I had this idea, maybe now's a good time to start it.
Well, and as far as magazines, you checked out the Basket Case magazine? That one's pretty
cool.
good.
Stag is cool. There's a bunch of cool magazines out. Dice is still cool.
Still cool, yeah.
But yeah, obviously like magazines is a hard sell these days. Like all the big ones are gone.
Yeah.
And not even just, obviously not even just motorcycles. Like
a lot of
a lot of big magazines are gone.
We were kind of, when I was out there in Cali talking to other shops, especially ones that do a lot of advertising, that did do advertising with magazines, it's like, I was kind of touching on Mike with this, is that I wouldn't say that all these like new vloggers and these influencers and all these people in these areas that are trying to find ways to market themselves or whatever as like, social media influencers in the motorcycle world, it's like a lot of people that are in the position to support or sponsor or advertise in different ways. They're kind of getting bombarded with like so many different forms of like people trying to get at them for this shit. And it's kind of for them, from what I've heard from them, it's hard for them to figure out what's a beneficial thing to spend that money on in advertising, because the magazine, while I don't know how much they actually, there's really no way to target, okay, we got this sell or this impression from a magazine, you know, podcasts and other ways they can kind of get more impressions that way because of the media aspect. But it was still a safe bet. Like, hey, it's $3,000 a month or fucking, you know, $10,000 a year, whatever the case may be. And they have an ad in their magazine, and it was out of sight, out of mind. It was kind of like, it was a write-off. It was this, that, and the other. But now you got, you know, all the guys online. Every fucking city has like 6 guys on a fucking bike with a GoPro and this, that, and the other now, and 2,000 followers, and they're just bombarding all these companies every fucking week with like, hey man, you know, I'm doing a ride, and you know, can you get me an exhaust system, or hey, can you do this and do that? And it's like, fuck man, like I get hit up a lot, and I can't imagine somebody that has like physical hard parts.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's a weird world right now, man.
Yeah, I don't know what the right answer is with all that. I mean,
there's no answer though. I was telling Mike earlier, it's like that's something that me and I want to bring on a vlogger, but I don't want to bring him on in a way that I'm gonna like attack them. I want to understand their perspective more, but also like, you know, like, hey man, you know, they are kind of devaluing the market here for people that are actually trying to put real content out, or real like. I guess they're putting out real content, but we're trying to do more of it's trying to be professional for whatever case may be. You know what I mean? So it makes it hard for some other people, but that's just me bitching, I guess.
I don't know about the advertiser side, but I think with all the vloggers and all the stunners and stuff, and just, I feel like more people just need to go back to just ride motorcycles or build motorcycles to build them. Everyone wants to be
part of the business.
Part of it. Everyone wants to monetize this or be sponsored or something, or just I don't know, man. Like, just go ride for fun. I mean, you can post it. I'm not even saying like when people hate on, oh, you don't got to post a picture every time you go ride. But I mean, post it. But why are you looking to get something for it? Like, you get the enjoyment of the ride or the enjoyment of the build. You don't need to get something else. I mean, I always tell people, I'm like, I go to work for money. You know, I mean, I know you guys kind of like work in this, but I mean, that's for some people. The rest of us. Everybody doesn't have to make money in this shit. You just
I think what it really is when you hear like you see all these like Netflix documentaries talking about these social media influencers and this, that, and the other, or you hear these stories or these articles of like somebody with this much money, or like, you know, plenty of other podcasts like the MFCEO podcast. He's talking about he pays all these people to do all this stuff, and it's like people are like, fuck, I'm on my phone all day long as it is. Like, how can I get paid to do this? So it kind of instills like this mentality into everybody to where everything you post is some type of value to you. And I've been guilty of this too, of thinking this way, and I'm trying to correct it. But like, you start thinking about, oh fuck, man, I just posted 6 fucking Simpson helmets this week. They should be paying me for this. And you get in this mindset of like, you know, people owe you and shit. You know what I mean?
I think people see that they want that instant success. Like, I mean, what, you've been painting for what, 15 years now? Yeah. And what, how long have you been like a big name now? For like a couple years? I mean, I know we're in the same town, and I just met you a couple years ago, and I don't know how long you've been building bikes, but I mean, but I think people just all of a sudden like they want to build a bike or do this or go on a long ride, and all of a sudden, hey, look what I've done, instead of grinding and putting in work for 10, 15 years and then being like, look, I'm established. Like, I've done this, I do this, this is what I do. And it's just, people don't want that. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's always been that way.
That's a good point.
But I don't know.
Dude, I had to do a lot of crackhead shit to get even close to where I'm at now.
I mean,
dude, that's how we met. I had to do a crackhead paint job for 7 people. So then Mike finally calls and goes, hey man, I heard you doing crackhead paint
I called you beforehand, actually.
Yeah, you did. But no, so, and I tell people all the time now, it's like, yeah, I've been painting for over 10 years. And for me to get my name in the hat in this smaller part of the industry, I had to go in a way and just basically eat shit a little bit to get my name out there. You know, I knew how to paint. It wasn't the issue of me knowing how to paint or not. I'm like the new guy. This first gun I picked up, just pay for the materials. No, I'm just doing this shit cheap. So you'll pick me, and then I'm gonna do the best shit I can, and then put it out there, and then all of a sudden, bam! I've been busy ever since. I did the same thing with the helmets too. Yeah, you know, I was doing it for like $400. You know, which to some people that's still a lot of money for a helmet, but now it's like, you know, I can live off helmets. So
yeah,
you know,
but you started from the bottom and built it up.
Yeah,
you didn't just
even at like already at an established point in my career, I've still had to go back and rebuild myself in another area of my career over and over again to continue to be relevant or to continue to, just be in the light or in the people's eyes or whatever you want to call it. So
yeah, a lot of people just I rode my bike somewhere this weekend. Like, so we all did.
Yeah.
What's your fucking point? You know what I mean? Like, why? I don't understand. Like, why are you think you're worthy of getting like?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you were saying, but I don't really understand that either. Just like, dude, I don't even really consider myself part of this industry. I just build bikes for myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not like part of. I mean, I guess I'm wrapped up in this whole thing, but I'm not like some,
you're
Well, that's what I mean.
I'm just me. I'm just an individual person. I don't consider
your
myself.
income isn't coming for this. So yeah, you're not necessarily in like all your income is not coming from just fucking with bikes all day long.
It is actually.
Oh, it is now.
Yeah, for the last it's pretty much 100%.
Okay, well then hell yeah.
But even still, like I still don't really consider myself like.
Yeah, like you don't have a door you open up like, hey, we're selling parts now.
Nah, I'm just this is just like a little. This is just me.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, you've been doing it for at least 10 years now. Mm-hmm. I mean, one born free and all this and that, and I feel like you got guys like more on my level who's put together a few bikes, and all of a sudden they think that they're supposed to be on that level. Like, they want to call up this person like, hey, can you hook me up with this for free? It's like, look, I built 2 bikes, and it's like, dude, it's like, I mean, there's established dudes who they ain't even hooking up. It's like, why?
Well,
that was kind of
that was kind of a part of me and Mark's conversation. Is that like, say for instance, Mark, someone who rides very, very hard, very good rider, sells parts, but can't get some love from the same companies that he sells parts for, but they'll give the kid down the street the part for free, and he's got to buy the part himself, put it on his bike, ride it to see if it's valuable, and then use his own stuff to market and sell it to the customers for the company. As opposed to, that's kind of like we were talking about before. We've been talking about this Olin suspension stuff, and I've had so many people reach out to me like, hey, so what is the difference between Olin's and Legends? I'm like, I've never had Olin's. I don't know. I heard it's great. You know what I mean? I've had one rear set of shocks of Legends. It wasn't bad, but I don't know what to compare it to.
Yeah.
But Legends did something that Olin's didn't do. Olin's didn't come into the Harley industry or the performance side of Harley things and just flood the market with their shocks and advertisement, which I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but this is how they did it. They did the crackhead shit I was talking about. They put their shocks on all these stunt riders' bikes, all these, like Stacy Wilt and all these other people, they were just riding. And now all of a sudden, Legend Suspension is like the suspension guy in the Dyna FXR.
It happens with all of it, dude. It goes, everybody needs a Lucky Dave seat. Everybody needs a BMC seat. Every year, that whole scene just has every part there's a new trend. What bars are we running this year? Who's risers? It's like, and then you just go on like the parts trader and everybody's selling their BMC seat, because they all want a saddleman seat.
Well, that's the thing about seats, bars, and things like that is they're all creatures of comfort. Like your seat.
Yeah, but nobody's buying it for that. They're buying whatever's hot. It's like I said, it just fluctuates.
Well, they buy it because it's hot and they realize, okay, this doesn't fit me very well, so
yeah.
Then it's for sale. Same thing with bar sizes, man. Dudes will come out and buy some 8-inch bars. I'm like, for a normal size bike, I'm like, you're not gonna like that. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna want at least 10s or up. And some people love the 8s, but man, I don't know. Like, most people do that and they go the other way after that. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've had this conversation too. Like, I make some parts, but I've talked to a couple people like, oh, you should do bars or you should do seats or something. I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like there's already like 100 people that make bars and seats and shit. Like, what do I have to offer that's any different?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I could do one that's like got a different stitch or a different like whatever. So I get that. Maybe there is room, but I'm just like, I don't know. I don't need to be that.
You know what scared me from doing seats, or not that I could, but just being in that thing is like when I listen to people like at camp outs and bike nights complain about the things that like, oh man, the stitch came out, one little stitch of this, all these diamond stitches, like I'm sending it back, it's bullshit. I'm like, dude, if I was selling seats and someone was complaining about that, I'd be like, dude, go fuck yourself, man. But see, that's why I don't sell shit like that. 'Cause
Yeah.
you a faggot, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like everybody, some people are, they're buying it because they want it to look good and be that thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. But then there's guys like us, like, I like the way it looks. I'm going to buy it. And then I'm going to ride it. And while I'm riding it, I expect those stitches to wear, and maybe bust at some point. I hope they'll last forever. But if it doesn't, I'm not going to call up the seat company and go like, hey, dude, you're fucking me. Make this right on a Instagram post, talking shit about them.
Hey, Vans, I wear your shoes and the soles start to get worn out. Like, no shit. Like, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of your parts, what's the FOAD?
Fuck off and die.
That's what I thought, but I always wondered.
I was wondering that too. I didn't think to ask.
That's what I thought it was, but yeah.
So you still doing like the cast parts and stuff like that, where you're making like those FXR frame rails and shit?
Yeah. I'm still doing the fender struts. Got that dash in the works.
That one that you were
production
fabbing
part?
up.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, I thought it was a one-off thing.
It is one-off for right now until I have the bike done and out. And then I have some wheel stuff in the works and some other little stuff. But it's all, it always starts as like one for my bike and then like, okay, I'll do a small run of parts.
Would you say that's a better way to do it? Is to do a small run? That way it's like you're not like hoarding all this.
It's a better way for me because I can't afford to do big runs.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I can only afford to make 5 sets at a time or maybe 10 sets of struts at a time. Like, otherwise I'll have all my money poured into doing that. And then, you know what I mean? So I do 5, sell 5, do 10, sell 10, and then do another run.
That's not bad.
I just can't. I mean, yeah, if I could afford to make like 100 sets at a time and not have it affect my daily life, then fuck it, I'll do it and sit on them. But I can't. I mean, that's like, if I did that, I'd be like, ooh.
Dude, that's what I feel. That's how I feel about t-shirts, man. Like,
well,
I suck at that. Well, so what's up with the clothing stuff? Is it?
It's still going on. I mean, like Japan is still going on and stuff, but like I've purposefully like kind of taken a little bit of I've just stepped back a little bit. Like you guys handle it. You guys, you know what you're doing, whatever. Like I'm just sort of like limited my involvement a little more in the last year.
Is it kind of like stepping back for creativity purposes, give yourself a little bit of a breathing room?
Yeah, I'm just like a little bit with like doing so many pieces per every season for 10 years.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh man, another fucking stupid jacket. Like I'm starting to I start to feel like I don't even care at all.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like not interested in it. And all my interest is in the bike shit basically at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I mean, I'm still doing it and like it's second nature to me. I'll probably always do it in some aspect. Yeah. But I'm just like, I just can't focus on that right now.
Yeah, I go through that phase too with paint because that's what I do. That's my income and I love it. I always do it, but man, like I love riding bikes and doing bike shit.
So we can't get paid to ride bikes.
I know, like
all you gotta do is ride a bike down the street and say, "Hey, somebody pay me now."
Yeah, put a GoPro on your mouth and be like, "Hey."
I don't like being crackheaded. Yeah. I go to work.
But yeah, that's kind of the same concept, man. For me, it's like, so that trip I just took, it was kind of like a way to just be alone and just like work shit out of my head, and then I came back pretty reinvigorated to jump in some projects. And
did you?
Yeah, dude. Like I was on a stump with helmet designs. That's the hardest thing. Imagine every helmet you do is like a completely new design. I mean, it's still within the same style that you do, but it's got to be a new design, or you'll get like 10 people want black, silver, and silver leaf, and you got to redo that paint job 10 times. And I want everything I do to be the best that I can do at it, but it's kind of like we were saying earlier about the second time you do something, it's like better, but
the 10th time probably just gets old.
Not even that. I can't do it the second time.
And you got to sell each one. See, when I make a second one, the other one just goes into the scrap pile. It's not like I'm making 3 sets and when they're a little bit different.
I get people all the time, man. They'll hit me up. They're like, "Hey, dude, how much for the helmet with the lion on it?" I'm like, "That's the customers, man." He goes, "Well, how much to make one just like it?" I'm like, that dude paid a lot of money for that one-off design, And so that's when you start thinking, like, you kind of get, to me, I'll get wrapped up in my head, like, man, 10 people asked for that same paint job. Maybe I should just charge more for the first one. That way I feel better about all the other 9 that I couldn't do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. It's a weird thing, but it is complicated trying to be constantly re-involved and recreating a lot. But I mean, fuck, I've been doing it for 15 years, so
I couldn't imagine with the paint. Like, there's so many different bikes I could see building over the years, but paint, man, it just seems like, I don't know. I feel like I'd run out of ideas so quick. I mean, you painted stuff for me. I'm not very good at coming up with ideas in the first place, let alone a bunch of ideas.
What's an evolution, man? Like, because I don't think I can paint, like my gold bike, I don't think I can do that paint job again. Just like, I don't see paint jobs that way anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
That makes sense.
I've moved like on in a sense to where now when I look at a line, I look at it in this line instead of this line. So it's hard for me to go back and do certain things or whatever. So it's this constant evolution that it makes it a little bit easier to continue to move. If I had to stay with the same style, which, you know, I know for the most people it looks like the same shit, but it's definitely evolved since I known you. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's fucking, and there's things I want to learn. I want to try to get better at, but fuck, man, when you got 8 helmets a month or 5 helmets a month and 3 bikes and no help, you know, my brother's not really around much, so it's like, you know, you get 2 or 3 hours of like not working and you're like, fuck, man, I just want to go have a beer or go ride my bike or not be at work. You know, I don't want to sit here and learn how to do something else, you know. So it's a bad place to be for the most part.
Yeah.
So what else is what's coming up? I mean, you said you weren't going to be able to make Giddy Up this year.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Giddy Up's a whole nother thing this year. It's like, you know,
it's going to be interesting this year.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think I don't know. I mean, Giddy Up, the show, I mean, it's a good time. But, man, the camping is the only reason.
I got you on that, yeah.
You know?
I mean, especially, like I said, this year with things being shook up a little bit. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, it's a weird one, but, you know.
Either way, I can't make it. This trip I'm on right now is my last trip before Born Free. Aside from little day trips, but, I can't. I got too much shit to do.
Yeah, that's, man, I understand. Mike, you had some good things talking about. Like, I think you should do that. Maybe if we talk about it in the podcast, you will like set up a swap meet here in Texas.
Oh yeah, it'd be good. We need to. Well, I mean, they got Fandango coming up the week after Giddy Up, which is supposed to
maybe
be,
see how that one is.
Well, I mean, that's gonna be just a once a year thing, but that's their goal is to make it one of the big ones, you know. So that's gonna be good. But yeah, just something local, you know, like the ones we got like every other month kind of deal. I don't know. Me and Brooks gotta get back to talking about it because that's what I was working on with. But you know, shit always just gets so busy. It's hard to, you know, you get all these ideas. It's hard to sometimes get them actually going. Like, you have a hard enough time cutting out time on a Sunday just to go to a swap meet, let alone try to put one on. But I think it's definitely something we're gonna do. I don't know if it'll happen this year or next year, but we definitely want to get like a recurring one in the Dallas-Fort Worth area going. Something decent.
Yeah. Just kind of keep all the leather guys out and shit like that. Keep it more.
Yeah, just keep it more motorcycles. Like, I mean, I don't want to do it to make a bunch of money. I want to do it just to find parts. Yeah. Like, you know, I mean, that would be the payment for me. I mean, I don't know about the guy who does it now, if he's just doing it to get that check or whatever. I mean, I don't know how much, I don't know what his numbers look like. I don't know how much it costs to rent out a place and what he's ending up with. But I don't know, it seems that way because it don't be a lot of parts there. So
I mean, fuck, dude, like even where my shop is, you know, on a Sunday, nobody's in that parking lot. You just had all the way down, back and forth, lined up, and you just charge the vendors to be there and let people pull up.
I know it has to be legit enough to get people to come out and actually sell, though. That's the thing.
Well,
but you look at like California, what you guys got the SoCal or Long Beach swap that's what, once a month or something?
Once a month, yeah.
And then the NorCal swap that's
every 2 months now.
Every 2 months. So I know California is what like the biggest state for motorcycles, but Texas has got to be number 2 or 3. So it doesn't make any sense that there's no good swap meets in Texas, but we have year-round riding. I mean, there's tons of bikers out here. I live in Haltom City that takes 10 minutes to drive from one end to the other, and I think we have 4 bike shops in it. I mean, there's shops everywhere.
Yeah.
And so it just doesn't make any sense to me when I see all the pictures and videos from out there, all the parts. And then when people go to Webster's in Florida, and there's all these parks and stuff, and then I'm like, this isn't like, you know, Iowa or something. This is Texas. We should have good swap meets.
Yeah.
So
that's not a bad idea. And dude, I got so much little random shit in my shop too that I could probably, you know, get some beer money with.
Yeah, and you sell stuff at swap meet prices anyway. So
yeah, I'm just trying to get rid of shit.
You just gotta be the one to do it. That's all there is to it. You just gotta find a space.
That's what me and Brooks were talking about. Because I mean, we feel like, you know, we're younger. I mean, I'm 32. He's like young. He's real young. But we're saying how, I mean, we're just kind of waiting for somebody else to. And like right now, the guy puts on, he's real old. I don't know how old, he's 60s, 70s or something.
When I used to go to that one, it was Foot. And Foot passed away like 8-9 years ago.
Red does it now.
Red.
And it's just, you know, I feel like we're waiting on somebody to do it. But, you know, just I guess we forget that we can be the guys too. You know, we're just young. We forget, like, you know, sometimes I guess it's time for our generation to kind of take over this stuff. Those older guys probably just aren't trying to put all that on. They don't
They're losing their energy.
Like, they go out, but they're not trying to organize all this kind of stuff. And so I guess it's on us to kind of take that torch, if you will, or something.
Yeah.
Get something going out here.
But yeah, I mean, there's enough shops here, and for the most part, I think most of the shops here are pretty cordial with each other, so they can, you know, I'm sure they can.
It's not my side of town, but maybe over here.
Well, at least get on two different sides of a parking lot and not fuck with each other, you know, and just try to sell some stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's a good point, man. I honestly, I never go to those ones, those like scooter ones, because, you know, first off, I'm not good at waking up at 6 a.m. and showing up at
sleeping in for me.
Yeah. And then secondly, you know, like by the time I show up, it's, you know, it's the only things left is leather goods and
there was nothing there to start with. That's why.
Yeah. So there's no incentive for me to go. But like, you know, like I said, I have a lot of bullshit, and I know you got shit, and I know
I'm not trying to sell anything. Just buy.
Yeah. It's fucking user.
I mean, you know, if you want the good stuff, you gotta put it. It's just like anything. You gotta put in the work.
Yeah, for sure.
You gotta get up early and drive and dig and get dirty. And
so do you just like know of all the swap meets across the country and like know when to go and hit? And because I mean, it seems like you bank on those for sure. I mean, you said that in the last podcast. So
I try. I mean, if I could, if I could hit them all, I would hit them all.
Yeah.
I mean, I just obviously getting the parts and, you know, using them for builds and or selling them. That's great.
Yeah.
But I just like going to them too. I just like
it's just fun.
Finding shit and digging for stuff. I've done it my whole life with records and old antiques and fucking whatever. So
it's that thrill, man. When you just see a crate and you don't know, man, there could be absolutely nothing in there, but you don't know. You pull it up and there's $1,000 part and dude wants $20. So you just never know what you're. I don't know. I love it too, man. Like I like going to estate sales, garage sales. There's just some that thrill you get when you find a part. Like I don't go looking for anything usually specifically, but you find it. Yeah, it's like finding some buried treasure. Someone's like, oh shit, and I just love that anticipation. Where it's like you ask me how much. It's like this dude could like know what it is, or could be crazy and think it's worth twice as much, and then he might pop up like you're saying, like $5.
Yeah.
Like, oh fuck yes.
It's a game, you know. I mean, it's like a little bit of a mental game, strategy. There's all that shit, you know. I mean, it's like I said, it's treasure hunting shit. I mean, anyone that does it will tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
There's guys that like do it full time. If I could go to all of them, shit, I'd go. But
wasn't there a big one here, like a Pates one or something like that? Or
There's Pates, but they don't have the motorcycle section anymore because the AMCA got out of it and they're doing their own. That's what Fandango is.
Okay, yeah.
Because they used to put on theirs, but it wasn't that good. I mean, as big as Pates is, like I go to Pates because it's right next to where I work.
Yeah.
So I always go there like pretty much every day right after work. And I could go there every day and walk for 5 hours a day and not get through all the car parts there. But then the bike parts would be like a 10-minute walk. Mm. And we had, that was it. And then they had the one, what's his name? Carlos, I think is his name. I can't remember now. Put on in Arlington a couple years back. That was good. He was going to start doing them, and then he moved now. But that one was actually good. And like I said, he put one on, and a lot of other people came out that don't go to the other one, and that turned out to be a really good swap. I got a lot of stuff, sold a lot of stuff. But
I see a lot of shops doing their own swap meets now. Like Ramjet does one, and I know I've seen some more on Instagram that's popped up, and and they invite other people to come set up, which is.
Well, like I said, all the shops I've talked to a handful, and they all said they would if there was a different swap that was going to be more motorcycle focused. So
You're the guy. You got to do it.
Yeah.
And then I'll drive
I'll
back.
sell you some advertisements, right? It's fucking. Yeah. So, yeah, it's all good. So, anything else, man? Like, what's new? What's going on? You getting tired?
I mean, I'm good. I just, for me, man, like I said, this is my last trip before Born Free and all that shit. I'm just, I got, like I said, I got that chopper, an FXR, and a Dyna.
couldn't imagine trying to get 3 of them done.
Yeah, it's a lot, but like I said, it's just, and I didn't even tell you about that FXR.
Oh yeah.
For that show, that's a whole. I didn't do it last year, so I feel like I got to kind of come back a little bit strong.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about this.
What's the direction on this FXR, like style? I think they need a whole class now for like just the Frisco style FXRs. That.
Well, what do you mean by Frisco? I've been meaning to ask you
Well,
that.
I don't fucking know. That's what I mean by it.
I asked Nick
I
that.
mean,
I was
like-
like, you live out there. I was like, what's he mean by Frisco? I'm like, is there like some style I don't know about? Or
Dude, you know what it is? It's that FXR that says Frisco on the side of the tank, and I just think that style.
so like a chopper?
Well, yeah, like a fucking raked out looking
like a
FXR.
Frisco chopper is basically when they say that, like there's obviously Frisco style choppers.
Yeah.
And guys in that area doing FXRs, like
Yeah.
emulating that style. I mean,
I'm just saying words that kind of sound like they should go together to describe a type of motorcycle. You know what I mean? But I don't know all the slang or the proper.
I don't for this one. I don't know if there's an actual term or genre or time period that this necessarily falls into.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's probably a mix of a few different ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously, it kind of has a '90s vibe to it. I
So
would
a
say.
hamster.
Yeah, but not necessarily low and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I love those bikes, but this one is. This one will probably sit similar to the Doberman FXR
Mm-hmm.
in a way, but no fairing. It's a chrome frame, chrome swing arm, like full polish motor. The motor itself is real showy. The paint is like it's got that custom dash. There's a lot of like handmade one-off parts on it.
I like how you're making the post about building FXRs.
As opposed to putting them together.
Yeah, no, I like. I'm like every time I do it, I'm like it just makes me laugh a little bit.
I mean,
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, like building a bike is one. There's just a difference.
Yeah,
You know what
so-
I'm saying? Like,
There's
On
a
that-
big difference.
I've been trying to correct myself when I talk about the things I've done. I've been trying to say when I customize, So like every bike I've ever done, I've pretty much just customized it from what it originally was, as opposed to, building it. Like making this and that and the other. So I've been trying to, when I post like a bike that I customize it, that's what I use the word.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to cut building out of my.
I mean, it's a word. Building is a word that we just use. It's
Yeah,
like saying
it's a-
Xerox.
Yeah.
And it's like that's just generic term for putting a bike together. You know what I mean? But yeah, obviously there's a difference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and same thing with choppers or any kind of bike. Like there's a guy that, I built a cafe racer versus I built a cafe. You put upside down handlebars on a Honda. That's not building a cafe racer.
Yeah.
Versus a guy that like made a frame and machined his own wheels, and there's a big difference.
You don't feel it as much until you go back and forth. Like when you're I was putting that shovel head together. Like you got like all this time just invested just in the frame and all this and that, and then I go back and put an FXR together, and it's just like, oh man, I forgot how easy this is. Like I don't got to bust out the grinder, the welder, nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's just wrenches, and it's so much easier that like whenever I do that, whenever I go back and forth, it's just like I get that same feeling where it's like, and then you see something like, oh, I just built this FXR, and I'm like, well, kind of.
If you're at a bar and like some chick walks up and goes, hey, like what do you do? Oh, I customize bikes. It don't sound as cool as like I
It's
build
not that
bikes.
serious. It's just
It's just
more
semantics.
lighthearted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just semantics.
But yeah, there is that aspect where I know for a fact, I hear, I see certain people take offense to that do build bikes, and like, oh, it's like it's their one thing they want to bitch about all the time on social media or whatever.
But there's always different. I mean, it's the way I look at it, but there's always different ways too. Because then you got guys who are building as in like machining like all this shit on motors and stuff, which I can't do that. Like I can put one together, but I'm not doing any of the machining on it or anything like that. So in a sense, when you look at it from that sense, he might have an FXR, but he's done all this machine work to the motor and, you know, just to a whole nother level. So he built that bike in a sense also, you know,
but in a different way than you built a bike.
So I mean, that's why it's way more lighthearted, at least when I say it. I mean it lighthearted, just kind of like funny, just not so serious to where like I'm trying to get into like some hour-long Facebook debate about it or anything. It's just
I just say it as I just joke about it and shit. You know what I mean? Because like, and it's the same thing. Like all that shit you do, like I could not do a lot of that shit, and it probably wouldn't even make a difference. Like I don't think anybody's gonna realize it or whatever. Like no one is gonna go like, oh, I see he boxed in all the pieces on this frame. Oh, the top motor mount, the lower motor mount, and you know this and that, and welded and grinded all the welds on the frame. You know, like no one's even gonna notice that.
No.
But you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. It's something that's for me. It's something that's kind of have to do.
I guess the only time that like the term when someone say I built it or we built it or whatever is when like it would be a shop that builds lots of bikes, but they have a mechanic, they have a painter, they have a powder coater, they have all these outsourced people they use to put these bikes together, and then then they say they built it. Like to me, that there needs to be a new term for that kind of building a bike.
It just is what it is. I mean, it's the same. It's the same with choppers as FXRs. I mean, I know tons of people who just buy a frame, buy a tank and fender, slap a pan head in it, and like you said, like a 4-over Springer, and bam, you built a chopper, but didn't even touch a grinder.
Exactly.
But it is what it is. I mean, as long as people are having fun making bikes they enjoy.
Yeah.
I mean, who really cares? Like I said, it's more in fun. But because I know I've built stuff before where I'm like, I could have bought something that looked almost the same, probably looked better, but I don't know. For me, I enjoy building it as much as any other part. Like I love riding bikes, but the building is just as fun. So even if like I said, I could buy this tank or buy whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. The fun of making it is just a big part of it. I mean, that's all I do is go home, go in the garage, and just work on stuff.
Yeah,
so.
I like I said, in the last couple of years, I found a new respect for that because I used to talk a lot of shit to people and shops and stuff that only built bikes. They never rode them. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, the fuck, man? Like, you're not into this shit for real. But then I realized that there's some very, like, high, I don't know what the right word is, but they get a lot from making something and seeing it come to life, It's
like Garley said. He said it on here, right?
Right,
Garley said, I can't remember if he said it on here or on
He talks
Dance,
a lot, so.
Or in person. So I know he got into that and everything, and that was the first time I never took it too serious, but that was the first time I really stopped and thought about it because he doesn't ride much and he just likes building. But I mean, I like to ride, but I like building as much. Like if I didn't ride, I think I'd still build bikes just because it's fun. I mean,
yeah, dude, I feel like I gotta post paint pictures on my Instagram every once in a while to let people know that I do paint, because it's like I get so wrapped up in wanting to ride and show people that part of what I like to do because I do, but then it's like, oh fuck yeah, this is the paint thing.
I go through fate. I mean, this last year is probably the year I've ridden the least.
Last year was the same thing for me, dude.
Yeah.
The least
By far.
Like, I know you killed it. I know you killed it in 17.
This is the first time I don't think I broke 10,000 miles in a while, and it was just.
I didn't ride cross country last year.
Yeah.
I rode my bike to here to there, but like. Well, since I got the van, the van's been a huge part of it. Before that, it was like do errands on the bikes. Now I'm like, oh, new van's kind of nice. Drive that, and obviously a lot of projects.
Yeah,
what I mean. So I just haven't. So like I said, this year I got a bunch of builds. Next year, a couple more like scheduled, and then I want to like. Legit take some time.
So how do you schedule that? Like how do you mentally how do you put it together? Like is it just Born Free next year, or is it like some other thing, or are you just trying to give yourself?
I just get to a breaking point where I'm just like, that's it, I'm done, fuck it, I'm just gonna ride, leave me alone, I just want to go. And then I'll do that. Like 2 years ago I did that. I rode like a ton, and then I was like, man, I feel like I haven't welded in months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like, damn, I want to get back in there.
That's why I took that trip, because I felt like that. I felt like, man, I'm sitting here on this podcast for a whole fucking year talking about riding across country, and I did it twice last year and failed on one of them. You know what I mean? So I'm like, it was a chance to go out there and do a job so I can make money on this trip. But then, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to ride, And I needed it bad, But
I know this. Well, I mean, I have to like schedule these shits for myself too. Like I said, this summer I'm gonna do another cross country and back trip. Mm-hmm. But I have to I don't have to force myself to do it. I want to do it. I'm building this bike to do it. But at the same time, I have so much shit going on that I really I almost have to schedule.
To do it.
Yeah, to do it. Like, okay, from this time to this time, I don't know.
I just crossed 10,000 on that bagger.
Yeah.
I got it in the end of September.
That's not a bad year.
Yeah. So it's
10 grand
it'll
already?
be
6 months.
It'll be 6 months at the end of this month.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's what I did because, like I said, last year was just a bad year for riding. I didn't do. Furthest I went was Arkansas. I didn't even ride back, obviously, and we didn't have Maggie Valley, so I didn't have that long ride. And usually me and the wife will go down to Hill Country once or twice or something. We didn't do that. I just went to a few shows, and I've got that 4Runner, which is new. I mean, it's an 03. So I started getting spoiled driving to work instead of riding because it's like, I've always had older vehicles, no AC and stuff. So it's just like, might as well ride the bike because, it's going to be hot as fuck or cold as fuck either way. So I just wasn't riding much, but I just totaled that. So I picked up another old truck. So that way, just gives me that motivation. Once I get into the flow of it, just riding every day to work, then it's just what I do. But I got spoiled having a nice car, and I really started missing riding. But in the morning, sometimes just not motivated at 4 a.m. to fire up the bike, especially if it's cold out or something. And it's like, fuck it, I'll just jump in the car.
I love the feeling of jumping in the car, turning it on, because I've been riding a bike nonstop for the last couple of months now, and I'm over it.
That's what I was, dude. I had years every day to work. 15,000 miles a year just going to work, and then I got that new one, and it just especially when it's cold out. Like I was used to, I get up 15 minutes early just to bundle up and everything, and then I got get up, cut it on, and the heater's working in like 5 minutes. You start feeling all toasty and
just chilling, listening to podcasts or audiobooks.
Well, in terms of traveling, I didn't slow down at all. I already got fucking 42,000 miles on that van's a year old.
Damn. It's a lot of driving.
I've done 6 or 7 times cross country in that thing already in a year. I don't know what the fuck.
Well, it doesn't help when you're on your way west and you're in Birmingham and you go back north 150 miles or whatever.
Yeah.
And then come back and then here.
It's true.
A T-Sport though.
I got it for a reason, and hopefully using it for that reason.
How long those things usually last? How many miles can you put on that thing?
Ain't it?
It's gas.
It's gas?
Yeah. I got a 150,000 mile warranty.
Yeah, so that's like another year and a half.
Yeah, pretty much. By next year, I'll be ready for a new one.
Yeah, that's the only thing I was worried about. The 10, there's a part of me when it hit 10 grams, like, fuck yeah, I'm doing biker shit. But then I was like, man, I still owe a lot of money on this bike. So I'm like, I'm riding it like it's an old bike that I just don't care about. And I'm like, I'm going to be paying on this motherfucker for like 6 more years and shit. So I need to be mindful of that.
The mileage don't scare me. The more I used to, I don't know, man. I think coming from the East Coast with cars and bikes and stuff, I don't know, I just remember 100,000 miles on a car. I was like, no, what are you talking? I would never buy a car with 100,000 miles.
That's how I feel.
But now, I don't know, maybe it's people drive more in California. I don't know, whatever it is, but I'm not scared of the miles. Really. Yeah. Obviously,
cars are better now too. So I would be weary about a 200,000 and I would be more like, I'll give you $1,500, man, maybe, if everything works.
You gotta go older or newer.
But even bikes, man, I'm not really.
Bikes, I don't care at all.
People get really oh man, 20,000 miles. I'm like 20,000 is nothing.
Especially when they're talking about FXR. That's what kills me. People get, it's a 3,000 miles. I'm like, dude, that bike's 30 years old with 3,000 miles. I'd rather the one with 50,000 miles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, that bike sat its whole life. If it's got 60, 70,000 miles, good chance it's probably got a lot of stuff changed, been taken care of, if it's still running good, they've gone through it. They've put the miles on it, the frame and paint might be a little bit more chipped up. But, as far as the drivetrain's concerned, Yeah, I like it better.
It's the same thing. Like I had bought a T-Sport like right after we did a podcast. It was like a one I was going to build, and you know, I took it apart, took it to Mark, and he, you know, this thing had 120,000 miles on it, right? Mark did the fucking, you know, check the motor, run out was good.
Yep.
On 120,000 mile, but it was, you know, a Timken bearing twin cam.
Yeah.
And same thing on that other Dyna I had bought that I took to the camp out. It was like 40,000 miles on it, 02, and same shit. Run out on it, fucking perfect. Like, those kind of miles don't scare me. I'll take the, you know, I bought that Dyna for like $2,500. I bought that T-Sport for like 3,000. You know what I mean? So I'll do that shit all day long and get these high mileage bikes that got the right motors in it, or even if they don't, you can get twin cams for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Evos and twin cams, they're so cheap. It doesn't even matter. I mean,
so wait till we start seeing. They don't really have replacement motors at Harley yet. Like you don't like twin cams. You can go to Harley and be like, I got the 103, but I want the 120R. So then you'll see all these like 103 brand new motors out there for like $3,000. You know. With 0 miles or whatever, and then but the M8s they don't really have like the crate motors. I don't know if they do. I don't think they do. So it's like you either get the 107, the 114, or the 117 that comes in them, and S&S isn't making motors for them. So there's no motors floating around.
It's going to change the landscape, I think, of stuff like that. The Harley has done that, made the engines more modular. Like you can't buy replacement motors from them no more. S&S isn't doing it. I think it's going to change a lot of shit. Yeah. Definitely.
I'm also really, because this year we're supposed to be seeing some of these newer bikes that we had talked about, like the adventure shit and the Street Fighter. I'm really interested to see those motors and how, like, what they do differently and how it, you know what I mean?
Have they even said anything else about that since then?
Because I think they've been focusing on the LimeWire, whatever. I keep saying LimeWire, like the streaming or the still music service.
Well, it was before streaming.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Pirating.
But yeah, that they've been focused on the LiveWire, and I think they just released some more shit on it. And it's kind of like pretty quick, like good, like some Tesla numbers for like how fast it goes. I've never bought anything for a 0 to 60 kind of like, man, this thing goes 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds. Like,
I don't ride like that. I'm more distance than. I mean, I like to go distance fast.
Yeah.
I don't need to go fast for a quarter mile or nothing.
Yeah.
I'm interested in that bike. I mean,
chop one up.
I mean, but again, it's like I'm not really sure how much you could really do with it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, I feel like the design for that bike might be pretty on point.
Turn the mic that way.
Oh, this way?
No, with the heart faces you.
Like that.
Yeah.
I feel like that design might be pretty on point for what it is. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like
it's not. There's no room for like customization.
I think a lot of this with these bikes, like we're customizing because we don't like the new bikes because we're so used to the old bikes, right?
Mm-hmm. True. Yeah.
Whereas the LiveWire comes out, it's like that's a new bike, we don't have anything to like compare it to. We can't say we don't like the styling of this bike compared to the old one. Mm-hmm. So it's brand new, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I think it might be kind of good as it is.
Could just be a blank canvas though, where you got to come up with some completely new shit.
Mm-hmm. Went from kickstarting to push button to however you start that thing,
Bluetooth.
Like car or bike on, and just fucking like.
That'd be
think
cool.
It's on.
That's right. Yeah, you won't even hear it.
I'm not like, I'm definitely not one to be like scared of the new technology. Like I embrace that shit. I like it. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't think we should just throw out all the old shit, but I think definitely like I'm excited to see like what happens, the new stuff. Like, yeah, man, I like technology and shit. I think it's cool.
I think I'm learning that because all last year when they would release, like when we did the podcast talking about the adventure bike, they would release these new models. In the back of my head, I'm thinking, I want something else. I wanted something old that was new. You know what I mean? And so like I was never giving it a fair chance to like be like, okay, this is cool. This is something new that could be, a different part of the Harley Davidson market for a lot of things, Well,
I think so many people forget, man, companies don't go back in time. Like, I mean, it's like, panhead dudes get upset that they don't, it's like they get upset at new bikes, like, okay, they're not going to bring a new panhead out. Or all the FXR guys are just losing their mind because they want a new FXR. And it's like, you don't even want a new FXR because it's going to be a fake FXR. And then to hear that argument, people are like, oh, well, what about Chevy? They bring back, these cars. I'm like, in name only. I'm like, it's not the same. They didn't bring back a Corvette from the 60s or nothing. I mean, it's still got the same name, but I keep saying Harley does the same thing. You still got a Super Glide, a Low Rider. You got all those. It's just the name. I mean, that's all the car companies are doing too. They think like, I mean, that Challenger, that's not an old Challenger. It's just a new car that they call a Challenger. Mm-hmm. I mean, the new Softail's it's a new Super Glide. It's a Super Glide, just a new Super Glide.
I think I talked about it a little bit in one of the podcasts, but when I was in Vegas with TOL, he let me drive his Charger around. Like, that was my daily driver to work every day. He's like, here, just take the car. I was like, cool. And then one of my close buddies in our little group, he's like, all in Dodges. And I sent him a picture from while I was sitting in the car. So he goes, what color is the key? And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? And so I took a picture and he goes, the red key is the fast one. I was like, okay. That car was fast as fuck, man.
Were you accidentally speeding a lot?
Nah, man, I'm scared of cars, dude. Like, I don't drive them, and I don't fucking do well, and I'm wrecking cars left and right.
Obviously.
But, I've never really owned a really fast car. Like, back in the day before motorcycles, I did my import phase, but, when I had a Nissan 240 with the SR20 and it had like 400-something horsepower, I thought it was the fastest thing in the world, And then when I drove my first Skyline, I thought that was fast. It was only like 600 horsepower. And then this car, 800 or 740 horsepower, it's just like tapping. It's like, I'll kill myself on this motherfucker. You know what I mean? So it's a different world. But yeah, all these bikes, man, it's kind of, it's interesting conversations to bring it up and just kind of get people's opinions or maybe play the devil's advocate on some of the shit.
It's not going to happen though.
But it's just, I don't know. I'm interested to see what they do. I mean, I don't think that, every time I go in a dealership, they're always like, hey, man, do you see this new Performance FXDR? And it's like, I don't really know how you can, like, ride that thing aggressively. It's like a big V-Rod, you know what I mean? Like, it's a drag bike,
For me, I just don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to like the new bikes. Like, I want to try them. Like I said, next year I want to try something.
Yeah.
I just legitimately do not like the styling on those Softail things, like the Dyna replacements or whatever. I really dislike them.
I'm wondering if they're gonna continue to push the Sportster line, which I'm pretty sure they will. But if those new Street Fighter and the other models they have coming out, I wonder if those are going to be something they might replace the Sportster with, or the evolution of the Sportster motor.
It's been there so long.
I think Sportsters probably sell more than
for sure
a lot of other bikes combined. You know what I mean? I feel like
just search Craigslist for Sportster, man.
I feel like they'd be kind of foolish to get rid of Sportster, but again, what do I know? I don't work there, so it's just what I see, but.
Yeah, well, the baggers are good, man. Like, trust me, that fucking bagger's nice. It's just expensive, So with them dropping this new one at that price, if they do the Road Glide like that, it's fucking like Harley did the smartest thing they've ever done in life. Or if they do a Road King that's even cheaper than that with the same concept, I mean, the Street Glide's kind of like that bike that's been out for so long. Like, you've had a Batwing fairing that's been very similar to the same thing since the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So that fairing, and then for so long you had the Ultra, the Electric Glide, then you had the Street Glide. So you had 3 models running that same fairing. There's just so many of them that people are kind of over it. But then you get the Road Glide became kind of cool, and even the old Tour Glides look fucking cool.
I like the Tour Glides. I want to buy one before they get expensive. I don't know. It's gonna happen one day. I've been saying for years I'm gonna buy one. I don't find them all day for like $3-4 grand.
Yeah,
and I don't know. By the time I actually end up getting one, they're probably going to get expensive or some shit.
A couple of years back at Sturgis, this builder, quotes, I don't know if he customizes bikes. Curtis Hoffman, he did a Tour Glide, and all he did was he found like a barn find looking bike and just put like nice like 21 thin spokes on the front and matching on the rear and just lay framed it on there. Sickest thing in the world. It was like the coolest thing because it wasn't some over the top like big wheel bagger thing. Mm-hmm. It was like, it reminded me of like an old patina car that just, you just buy it, clean it up a little bit, put air ride on it, and go stun on motherfuckers. It was cool. I've always wanted one since then, but
I mean, yeah, if you took, I don't know, if you took maybe those FLTs, those older FLTs like that, and kept like did a blonde twin cam in it, and like made it all fuel injected and all that shit, and then just had kind of like the 90s.
Yeah. Those tanks were cool in those old Tour Glides. They're kind of like
huge.
Yeah, they're big. I got one in the shop right now for Dirty Air. They're doing I think it's an FL. Like it's not a full fairing one, but they're building one of those lay frame softail things on it. I think it looks cool. Different AMF shit. You know, it says AMF on the tank and everything. I don't know much about that, but a little before my time.
The rubber mounted chassis too on the FLTs.
Yeah. Doesn't Dan have something like that? Or
He did. He sold it.
Oh,
yeah,
he sold
had
that?
an 80 FLT.
Okay.
Had it sitting up there for a while.
Old shovelhead shit. Yeah, I think the next FXR. I'm gonna try to do the shovelhead if I can get one.
It was just one on Marketplace, man. I messaged him too. I almost
I
just
saw that
impulse
one.
bought it.
Was it the legit one?
It was really clean. It just wasn't a paint job I wanted, and
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't. I'm not looking for one, so it was just gonna be an impulse buy. And I'm like, I'm really patient, as you know.
Yeah.
So I was just like, because I had him send me more pictures, and I was like, damn it, man, that thing it was really clean for an 82. That wasn't like expensive and done up.
Yeah.
But
Well, I wanted one. You could have just bought it from me and then worked out something.
it was an all black EA, and just. I mean, it had the 82 logo on it and everything, but it was just a black EA model, and I was just like, nah.
Yeah, I want to get one. I need to get, like I said before, I need to get my life together first. But well, cool, man. I guess we can wrap this one up. I know you got to go to work in a minute, right?
Yeah, like I said, I'll probably just stay up. I can go in at 3, a couple hours away by the time I get home.
Cool. I know you're probably tired as fuck.
15-hour drive today.
Yeah, it's like that sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta drive.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, thanks, guys. FXR Mike, or Chopper Mike, whatever you want to go by now.
Just FXR Mike.
FXR.
Fine.
And Oliver, the CutRate. So,
Yo.
All right, guys. Thank you. We'll talk to you later. What's up, everyone? Hope you enjoyed that. Wanted to correct myself on the beginning at the dates of the Fast Life Campout. It's Friday the 26th, Saturday the 27th, and Sunday the 28th, which we'll be going home on Sunday. I'm pretty sure you can go and get there as early as you like and stay as long as you like. But those are the days that we'll be there, or at least I know me and my close homies will be there. So hopefully we'll see you there as well. So I want to thank everybody that made this podcast possible, man. D&D Exhaust, you can check them out, dndexhaust.com, as well as D&D Exhaust on Instagram. Also, don't forget you can call in orders at 844-D&D Pipe. I want to thank Mark from Texas Performance MC. I also want to thank Brian from Paint Huffer Metal Flake. Thank you guys for helping me keep this podcast going. And I also want to thank all you guys that have been continuing to support us on the Patreon. A couple of them I've noticed recently is Corey Velinga. Hopefully I didn't fuck your name up, dude. I'm sorry if I did. Let's see, who else do we got? Zachary Rezi. Dude, what's up with all you guys and these crazy last names? Zachary Rezi. Dude, I'm sorry, dude. Thank you for your thank you for your support, man. It's awesome. Like you guys are kicking ass. I'm not really good at the speaking part of anything, which is crazy since we have this podcast. But anyway, thank you guys for doing that. Yeah, I really appreciate it. You guys really helped out. Really looking forward to some more podcasts this month, as well as some other stuff we have planned. So hopefully we'll see you at Giddy Up. Hopefully we'll see you at the Fast Life Camp Out, and hopefully we'll see you at Born Free. And hopefully we just see you. So you guys have a good week, and we'll hopefully be back next week with something new and fresh for you. Thanks.